Water parks such as Typhoon Lagoon at Walt Disney World are closed due to the cold. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A Tennessee man has pleaded guilty to hacking the U.S. Supreme Court's filing system more than 24 times. Court records show that Nicholas Moore also admitted on Friday he illegally accessed accounts belonging to AmeriCorps and the Veterans Administration health system. He faces up to a year in prison after pleading guilty to one count of computer fraud. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Breaking with the United States, Canada has reached a tariff reduction deal with China.
During a visit to Beijing, Canadian Prime Minister Carney announced that his country has agreed to cut its 100% tariff on Chinese electric cars in return for lower tariffs on Canadian farm products. Both countries are pursuing improved relations with each other after their economies have been hit by U.S. tariffs imposed by President Trump. Greg Clugston, Washington.
The Supreme Court has agreed to hear an appeal from agrochemical manufacturer Bayer to block thousands of state lawsuits alleging it failed to warn people its popular weed killer Roundup could cause cancer. The justices will be hearing a case coming out of the state of Missouri. That's where a man developed non-Hodgkin's lymphoma after spraying Roundup on a community garden. You'll find more on these stories at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Bob Agnew.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who help people that have been injured or wronged. If you've been involved in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or injured at work, you have rights, and you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer you get from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer. And we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case. And they're so good they stake their reputation on it by only getting paid if you win. So if you've been in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or hurt on the job, find out today for free what kind of compensation you may be entitled to. Call the legal helpline right now.
800-257-3148. 800-257-3148. 800-257-3148. That's 800-257-3148.
It's time to wake up.
Yes!
And lock in to On the Rise.
Yes!
With host Mike Napolitano.
Cub fans have every right to be disappointed if this Cubs team continues on the trajectory that they're on and they miss the playoffs or, at best, get a wild card spot. You are cooked at that point.
Mamma mia!
Dalton Cooper.
Like, I would look out for my friends and be like, hey, you know, if you're ranking a little bit, I'm gonna let you know. I feel like that's a good friend. I'd be like, hey, did you smell yourself, or did you maybe did you fart, but something doesn't smell right.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And Nick Johnston.
For the most part, to be fair, I don't want to completely, justify a sweep, but the Royals are red hot right now. Vinny Pasquantino might be Ted Williams reincarnated. I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
On WRMN 1410 AM, the voice of the Valley.
And welcome in, everybody. WRMN 1410 on the rise. Nick Johnston, Dalton Cooper in the building. Ready to rock and roll.
We are here.
Oh, man, we are here. We are here. Dalton, how you doing this morning?
Doing well. The cold is officially here. If people wanted bear weather, by God, we got it.
Oh, yes, we sure indeed did.
And it's only getting colder.
Exactly right. Well, we got tons to talk about today. We got playoff football today. We got playoff football tomorrow. We got playoff football to recap. We got some Cubs news.
Yeah, we got playoff football on Monday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got a Monday game?
Yeah.
What?
National championship game.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Where's my brain at?
You're thinking about the WNBA All-Star game that's coming to Chicago.
Yeah, you're jumping me ahead. But let's jump back really quick because Saturday.
Yeah.
What a game. Let me quickly take you back to a little post game from our guy Caleb Williams from Prime Video here. I think he summed it up better than anybody could this entire game. And I mean, what a game. You were there.
I was there.
But we'll get to that. Let me get to Caleb really quick right here from this post game.
Comebacks have been your story all year, but this is the biggest one in Bears postseason history.
Yeah.
How did you get this done?
We understand that it's 60 minutes of football, We understand and know who we are. We understand what this means to the city. We understand what this means to the organization. We also understand what this means to us. And so you keep going, you keep going, you keep fighting. And when the clock hits 0, you'll look up and see who wins.
That was awesome. That was Caleb Williams' post game from Prime Video after the 21-3 comeback at one point. 28 to 6. Yeah.
That was the biggest gap. 18-point deficits, the largest deficit in playoff Bears history to overcome.
It was the largest deficit since the merger, something like that. So I think our guy.
Yeah, probably for the Bears. Yeah.
I think our guy Brandon just pointed that out when he went on his little rant on the show that he was on a little while ago. But man, oh man, I mean, what can we say about this game that hasn't already been said this entire week? An amazing game from the Cardiac Bears yet again, down as they were, to come back and finish off the win, 31-27. It was everything in that game, legitimately everything. The comeback, the nail biter, the amazing play on 4th and 8 from Caleb Williams, and that legitimately was the play that was the entire game right there. And I think Christian Watson's reaction from NFL in like from the mic'd up from this week, I think summed it up. He's like, "What?
Yeah."
He sounded like Stone Cold out there. It was kind of crazy, but it was an absolutely amazing game. I'll get your first encounters because you were there. You were boots on the ground. Tell me the experience from getting there, pregame, going into the tunnel, all the chants that came with it.
Oh, yeah.
What was it like? What was the environment like in Soldier Field?
I'm still hearing that Green Bay sucks in my sleep because it started. We got there when the gates opened. I believe they opened like 2 hours previous, so like 5 o'clock, and it was already a couple hundred deep, in lines and stuff like that. So honestly, the most magical moment was like an hour before kickoff, the snowstorm that came by. It snowed for like 20 minutes. It looked like a snow globe. Unfortunately, it didn't. I was hoping it would continue to snow throughout the game.
That's what Spike Lee said. I don't know if you saw that video as well. He was there at the game. He's like, I'm on the field. This is crazy. He's like, this is bear weather. This is Chicago weather. It's like a snow globe. And he goes, I'll be up in a suite.
Right. The biggest snowflakes I've ever seen.
Yeah, they look cartoonish.
They look like carnival peanuts, man. They were huge. They were the biggest snowflake, like I said, I've ever seen. But honestly, the bad vibes started early because, the first drive of the game, they take the ball and they go all the way down and they kick that field goal. But they had the momentum. They had killed probably half the quarter, I think, right? I mean, they took
close to it.
I think 7.5 minutes, give or take, I think was the amount of time on that drive. So, like, they were doing the right things, the things that everybody had talked about leading up to that game, and then just completely gone the rest of that half. I don't know if it was the 4th down decision to go for it on your own 30 was interesting. But I will say there was not a lot of panic in the stadium. Like, a lot of people were maybe like, okay, what's going on? What are we doing? When's this team going to show up? But it was never like, oh, we're done. We're dead. Let's pack it up. Let's go home. Nobody was really that negative. So actually the guys around us kept saying that we're a second half team. And by God, they were right. They were right. So
a second half or maybe just a fourth quarter. Has 25 points come in the fourth quarter. I mean, you saw it across social media. All the that had to be my favorite thing this entire week was just watching all the Packers influencers or YouTubers react to this game and just how devastating they were. I mean, again, just to click back into the whole thing. I mean, finally, not finally, but
The Rock has come back.
Yeah, you're getting there. I like this. I like my wrestling is rubbing off on you guys a little bit. Finally, Colston Loveland, it feels like he's not just he's the first round pick that we also wanted. He just feels like the best tight end in the league right now.
Honestly, yeah.
It feels amazing to have that kind of yes, we did it. We waited, we sat there, and we redemption. We got it for sure in that sense of 8 receptions, 137 yards. It feels like he's been targeted almost 30 times these 3 games between the Bears and the Packers. So what a move, and just to be able to figure him out and get him into the right space at the right time. And was there anything from this offense that stuck out to you? Because the defense was it had some defensive woes in that first half, but definitely bounced back.
He's 21 years old, by the way. He is the youngest guy on this roster.
Nuts.
Colston Loveland. So
and a very youthful Bears overall, besides maybe like DJ Moore, who's closer to 30, and DeAndre Swift is a little bit up there, but it is very youthful across the board.
It is. No, I mean, to your point, I think Zacchaeus played a really good game as well.
That's fair, yeah.
The drops are still a little bit of an issue. They weren't as much of an issue this game. They were more early on. I think there was a couple drops, and I think the Bears led the league in drops this season.
They did.
So that is still something that I think we need to kind of pay attention to and keep up on. But
and
I mean,
sorry, I hate to interrupt you,
No.
but that ties into the whole that every time we have the argument about the accuracy, where
Yes.
Caleb's accuracy gets shoved and just under a microscope. I feel like because this, that, and the other, and then on top of it, like you just mentioned, with the Bears leading the league in drops this year, it's just the accuracy is exemplified to a higher degree and is looked at very much more in that case, because every time you're like, okay, finally it's on his hands, it's on the numbers, bloop, dropped right.
Yeah.
hit him in the bad spot, the hands.
No, but I mean the inability to run the football, I think, had more to do with game script. I believe. I mean, you get down 18 points in the first half. They did have the rushing touchdown later on in the game, but that was one thing that I was kind of surprised to see, especially what Baltimore did to the Packers a couple weeks ago. Also, Kenneth Husk is in our YouTube live channel. By the way, check us out on YouTube, WRMN. He's asking, do you believe the NFL influences the course of a game?
No.
No.
I mean, no.
I mean, we just saw what happened to college basketball this week and influencing outcomes in games and stuff like that. So you didn't see the point shaving scandal that's going on?
No.
There's like 30 different schools, 18 different players, something along. Yeah, you should.
Mamma mia.
Yeah, you should definitely check that out.
Yeah.
But no, I think there's not. Maybe I mean, obviously the NFL is going to want certain markets to be in certain games, but as far as influencing, I don't know if you can go that far just because of the integrity of the game. But I mean, there was a lot of. I mean, the fact that we have a franchise quarterback now in Chicago, it's just got to make you sleep well at night. And then obviously we saw this with all the coachings, like firings going on and relieving go around. Finally, Chicago is not one of those teams that's like, oh man, we could get this guy that's going to be better than our guy. I think it's finally to the point now where Chicago's like, no, we're good with what we got. We just got to, we're just going to see if we can put it all together and win a championship. And I think that's just odd territory for the Bears to be in general.
I know.
So.
I said it last week. I said, guys, there's no
He's a
need to
villain.
be afraid.
And he's a villain. That's like the best thing. The villain head coach, I think, is perfect for Chicago.
Oh yeah. Especially, I mean, the whole just sparking this rivalry again, the arguments online, the petition from Green Bay Packers fans for Ben Johnson to apologize for his handshaking after the game. I mean, absolutely just silly and ridiculous to the nth degree.
Yeah.
I'm gonna flip really quickly to the Packers side. We talked on their side of the game, maybe what went wrong, but I think the biggest headline clearly has to be what might shake out with Matt LaFleur. I think the latest.
Oh, you think?
The latest headline is that they're going to try and make an extension.
Yeah.
They're both LaFleur and the Packers GM are headed into the last year of their contract.
Yeah. Is that Gutekunst? Is that?
I'll take a quick look.
I think that's Brian Gutekunst.
Yeah, I can take a quick look. But just on your side, how would you feel about if the Packers not just extending, or if they even let Matt LaFleur go? What's your mind process?
I think they're dumb if they let Matt LaFleur go. I mean, as somebody who roots for the Bears, I would love to see them fire Matt LaFleur, because I don't think they're going to find anybody that. I mean, if they could maybe find somebody that's going to replace him, that might be just as good, depending on who that coach is. But I mean,
it would be lateral, if not for sure a setback.
I mean, the best case scenario I could see is like a Brian Daboll or. And
you were right. The GM Brian Gutekunst.
Gutekunst.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, I definitely think the Packers should keep him. Honestly, the Packers' the biggest issue has always been the same thing, in the fact that they have to build their teams one way, and that is they have to be able to draft and develop talent all at the same time and hope it all comes together, because there's not a lot of free agent signings that they can get in Green Bay, Wisconsin, because it's just not the best destination for players that want to live, and play in the league. So if they're going to build through free agency, they usually have to overspend. You saw that a little bit with offensive line this year. I think they got a guard from San Francisco that they overpaid a little bit just by his metrics and PFF gradings. But yeah, I think that's the Packers' biggest problem. But I mean, they're still competing. I mean, I kind of made the argument in a different show that I did this week, but has there been a team that has benefited more from playoff expansion than the Green Bay Packers? Because if you look at the playoff expansion happened in 2020. They went from 6 to 7 teams in each conference, right? The Packers have been the 7 seed the last 3 years in a row, and then actually 4 years if you date Matt LaFleur back to his days with Aaron Rodgers. Last season they had Aaron Rodgers. They were playing to get into the playoffs to be the 7 seed. They lost that game against Detroit. but then the previous, or I guess the sequential 3 years after that, they've always been the 7 seed.
Okay. Well,
So-
yeah, definitely when you shape it that way, like they're the last team to get in these last 4 or 5 years. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
So I just think that's one thing that maybe to pay attention to, but you could thank Brandon McManus for this loss, honestly. That was that was what was insane. He called it the most embarrassing game he's ever had. And just there was so many things that went right for the Bears. I mean, obviously the delay of game after the timeout.
That was humongous.
Can we talk about the false start that saved the season? Because that ball got before that 4th and 7th play or 4th and 8th play doesn't happen previously if he doesn't false start because the ball got snapped over Caleb's head. So just a lot of things went right. As far as the Packers go, I think they didn't have their best player either. Like if Micah Parsons is playing in this game, the Bears probably don't come back the way they did because of just the way the lead was set up, the way that the Packers could have played defense at that point. Micah could have just teed off and just pinned their ears back and came after Caleb. But it didn't work out that way. I think firing Matt LaFleur would be a knee-jerk reaction that is not needed by this organization.
No, I couldn't agree with you more in the same sense of like, yes, as much as I dislike the Packers, you want them to do bad, it would be a boneheaded decision for them to fire Matt LaFleur in any sort of way. It's not the same right now. It's not the same thing as like a Tomlin or a Harbaugh where they've been there for 10 plus years and just like, okay, they're a good coach. Yes. But they're not hitting that next threshold where Matt LaFleur's getting there, but it just feels like there's like a disconnect between, I don't know, just something goes wrong. Whether it's the talent just doesn't meet up to the expectation, or just maybe that team is just so happens to be better than them that day.
Yeah.
I think you were also pointing out a couple things. The aggressiveness on 4th down from Ben Johnson. I think I love the aggressiveness. I think it was better this time around because the play calls were better. I feel like it wasn't in that sense of like, okay, we're actually going to run it on 4th and 1 right now when we're averaging 6 yards a carry. Let's actually do that. So I feel like that was done well. Amazing compliments across the board. And yeah, I think to flip back to the Packers, what an awful just last couple minutes of time management by Matt LaFleur, in all honesty, where
way too much time in shotgun.
So
much time in shotgun.
I think you had mentioned it already, that getting the false start after a timeout, which is what do you
delay a game after.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that sends him back in a game where it's not just inches, it's centimeters at that point, where that's going to make the difference every single time.
Yeah.
You can't have that happen. So in this round, it felt like Ben Johnson outmatched Matt LaFleur. He was able to make the adjustments. The Packers.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I think Matt LaFleur actually outcoached Ben Johnson in the first half, and then I think the defensive adjustments that were made at halftime were the reason that the Bears won this game.
Okay.
In the first half, me and you could have played quarterback against this Bears defense because literally no one was getting within 6 feet of Jordan. I mean, they were social distancing with Jordan Love. The Bears were. It was insane. It's like he had an infection they were trying not to catch.
Oh my goodness.
But the second half, I mean, the first play of the second half, they did a double corner blitz. The Bears did. And they got that quick 3 and out. And I think that flipped the whole game because they literally blitzed basically every down after that for the second half. It was insane. The blitz rate, I think, was double what it was in the first half.
Just to quickly also go back to the Packers, everyone, all the truthers for the fantasy all year long for Matthew Golden finally had some like, yes, finally something, 4 receptions, 84 yards and a touchdown that came off of probably the worst gang tackling I've ever seen in my entire life. So I got
right in front of us.
Yeah, I don't want to be the what if guy, but if someone makes a play, I don't think Golden's getting into the end zone in any sort of way. So 4 passing touchdowns, like you did mention, Brandon McManus. And oh man, I was this close to heading to Fanatics, selecting a Brandon McManus jersey or customizing one because I don't even know if he might not have one in the team store, and sending one over to my Packer buddy. Oh, I was
Finkel
this close to doing that, but I held up. I said, you know what, GG, my guy.
Yeah, right. We gotta do it.
I had to play it just a little bit much because. Like I said, I got a couple of Packer friends, unfortunately, but they were very much upset for obvious reasons. So, I mean, such an amazing game. We can quickly preview a little bit. I'm sure we'll preview when the second half comes around as well. Is that how you want to play? We want to preview a little bit now, and then maybe preview again after the break, and then we'll kind of recap some more games.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Ozzy Trapello though, because I literally watched him hop off one leg on a torn meniscus to save the Bear. Like, I saw that was literally like right in front of us too. We were sitting like maybe at the 30-yard line on the south end zone. We were like 6 rows up, so like that play happens, and then all of a sudden you just see this mammoth of a man hopping off the field, and obviously come to find out he tore his meniscus. But that was just insane. Like in the moment, you're like, oh no, what's going on?
Yeah, and obviously that, like you mentioned, the Bears do not come out of here unscathed. There's a ton of injuries.
Yeah, T.J. Edwards,
a lot of big
stinks.
ones. A lot of big ones. Again, we'll kind of preview. We'll look at the Bears injury report in just a little bit. But I think just to kind of wrap it up, and I also want to get your thoughts just on the way out. You know, the feeling, just the chance. We saw on the broadcast, and I thought this was really cool, and Danny Parkins from formerly of 670, I think he's now on FS1.
Oh yeah,
he kind of had a really cool moment on his first thing. It's called First Things First, right?
Yeah.
He had a
big
really
fan.
he had a really nice kind of like closing outro about him and his nephew, since his brother and his dad recently passed away. He's just like about watching football and just watching the Bears together and stuff like that. And just the end of the game when they cut to that father and son duo just celebrating. I got chills a little bit. I know you were watching the broadcast. You were actually there in that building, so you had different types of chills and different types of feelings and goosebumps all around. That was really awesome to see that joy and to have that all summed up and wrapped up in just one picture of like, dang, this is a generation of a Bear fan right there that's seen all the heartache and just all the horribleness. And then here's a brand new Bears fan right here that can finally say, hey, this is a team now that you can actually believe in, my son. Let's go do this. Let's enjoy this moment together.
It's been 30 years in the making.
Yes. So I thought that was a really awesome moment and really visually great to see as we got a couple more minutes. What was just the feeling on the way out? How was I mean, again, the chance galore, obviously, but what was the feeling on the way out?
Honestly, it was insane. The craziest thing to me was that like when McManus, or when the play was over for like obviously that like quote unquote Hail Mary throw they did, no one really left right away. Literally everybody, like no one really like got up out of their seats and walked out. Like I think the stadium was pretty full for like the next 15 minutes. Like everybody was just chanting, high-fiving, hugging. Like to your point, it was like something that, you know, the city has been desperately like yearning for, is to have, you know, that winning team to get behind and just have something to celebrate. And I mean, I live in Lombard, but like anywhere I go to work, if I go to the grocery store, somebody has Bears something on all the time now. It's insane. Like literally a year ago, it was not the case. Like when Eberflus was still here and all that stuff was going on, that was definitely not the case.
You felt almost embarrassed. You're like, oh, it's showing?
Right.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean for my Bears colors to come out.
And it would just, the walk out of the stadium, to your point, was incredible. Just the whole atmosphere. You could like I said, you could tell that this has been a long time coming. And the fact that, I think almost in a solace point, that everybody was happy that they finally hired the right guy. Like this was like the sign that everybody like, okay, Ben Johnson is that guy. He is going to be that guy. He's going to be somebody that this organization, this city, and just the football fans in general can like rally around and finally be like, okay, we don't have to worry about that. All we have to do is play our part. And you know, it's just really great to see. Honestly, it's just
stability for the first time in what feels like forever for a lot of fans in any sort of way. Because I mean,
because there's so much instability. If you look at like the whole stadium situation, right? Like that completely got forgotten for like 3.5, 4 hours. And obviously it's kind of in the mainstream news this week with everything going on. But like, yeah, it was just amazing to see, just like I said, just overflowing. Everybody floated out of that stadium. There was no feet on the ground, cars honking horns, people, you know, laying out of vehicles. There was literally a dude like laying out of his sunroof, like just honking at everybody as we were leaving the stadium too. It is insane.
I mean, again, that the videos that popped off, you see people in the city in their apartments like miles away from Soldier Field, and then you're just lighting off fireworks. They can hear the noise from miles away. Does it feel, again, going back to the word stability and just the coaches and how you feel about Ben Johnson, is it finally, probably since Lovie Smith, do we feel like we finally have some guy that's going to be there for the next 5+ seasons in some sort of way? Because it felt like this way, like, oh, John Fox, here we go, we got a guy. Here comes Matt Nagy. All right, we got our guy. Even probably before that, Trustman, like, oh, we got Trustman. We got our guy. This legitimately feels like we got everything in place. Now we kind of just need, probably just need that star on the defensive side, or we need that really standout receiver. But honestly, we're kind of creating.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's two things. It's Ben Johnson and it's finally Caleb Williams. Because even with those other coaches you named, nobody had somebody playing quarterback that we really believed in as a fan base. Like, even when they were going to the Super Bowl against even when they were going to the Super Bowl against the Colts, everybody was like, yeah, it's really great. The Bears are going to go there, but we can't compete. We have Kyle Orton or Rex Grossman.
Yeah,
and they can't compete with
pick 6 is what sold the game.
Right,
so.
That can't compete with Peyton Manning. So I think finally they have the stability at head coach. They have a guy they believe in, but like I said, most importantly, they've got the quarterback that we can all kind of okay, this guy is a generational. This guy makes plays that, he may drive you crazy at some points, but this guy can make plays that very few or nobody else can make in the league. And that is just something the Bears have never had at quarterback position.
And again, if you need an example, just look up Caleb Williams 4th and 8, and you'll probably see exactly why.
Yeah, jump man.
From one side to the other, obviously we got the Bears and the Rams coming up. We also have another good quarterback on that other side, on that Rams side, and he's got some nice things to say about Caleb. I got some compliments. I got some comments here from Matthew Stafford when we come back here on WRMN 1410. This is On the Rise with Nick Johnson and Dalton Cooper over here again in the Valley, Fox River Valley, right here. Voice of the Valley, right here. WRMN 1410 On the Rise.
Are you suffering with anxiety, depression, PTSD, an eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem? If it's causing problems at work or with your family, get help now at Insight Mental Health and Wellness. We can help and treat all types of depression and mental issues. We'll help you use your insurance to get away from it all to a beautiful, sunny, and tranquil vacation-like environment so you can recharge yourself. And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you could take the time off you need from work. Plus, with the Affordable Care Act, your treatment could be 100% covered. If you're suffering from any kind of anxiety, depression, PTSD, eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem, use your insurance and get away from it all. Come to sunny California. Call Insight Mental Health and Wellness now. 800-419-0287. 800-419-0287. 800-419-0287. That's 800-419-0287.
If you have been charged with driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs in Cook County, DuPage County, or Lake County, Illinois, call the law office of Mark Sheblow at 773-775-5050. That's 773-775-5050. Attorney Mark Sheblow has over 29 years of law experience handling DUI defense, traffic violations, CDL violations, and Secretary of State driver's license reinstatement hearings. All aspects of your case will be examined in order to find evidence that may help your case, especially the statutory summary suspension of your driving privileges. If your breath alcohol concentration level at the time of the DUI arrest is 0.08 or more, then the summary suspension of your driver's license begins 46 days after the arrest. Time is a crucial factor in challenging the summary suspension of your driver's license. Our law office is located at 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. That's 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. And again, our office phone number is 773-775-5050.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Listen this Sunday afternoon to Handle on the Law.
I know we're at will date, but for making a comment, like, hey, your hair looks good. And then I got a call from HR saying, hey, you know what? You're under investigation. Do I have any recourse?
Were you fired?
No, not yet.
The problem, Eddie, is they can fire you for any reason they want. They literally can wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I'm a little bored this morning. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire Eddie for no reason. Yep, he can do that. Yeah, that's California. Yep, welcome.
It's Handle on the Law this Sunday afternoon from 4 to 7 right here on WRMN.
Before the weather gets too cold, it's time to finish up those outdoor jobs. That's why ComEd wants you to know that electricity can jump from a power line to you and to the tools you're using. So maintain a safe distance from any power lines. You can also call ComEd at 1-800-EDISON-1 to have those power lines de-energized the next time you do any work around them. Stay smart, stay safe, stay back. ComEd, powering lives.
What did you think when Caleb Williams made that pass off his back foot?
It's unbelievable. His talent is really shining through this year. He's found a great fit with Coach Johnson over there. I think Ben's doing a hell of a job. He makes plays outside the pocket that not many guys, if any guys in the NFL can make. He's doing a nice job inside the pocket as well this year. It'll be a big test for our defense, big test for our team, really just going there and trying to come away with a victory. What he's doing is pretty special. The late game stuff and his ability to make plays off schedule is second to none in the league right now, if you ask me.
And that right there was Matthew Stafford on Let's Go, his Sirius XM show that you can go ahead and catch off there. Some mighty fine compliments there from his opponent that, again, kind of people are throwing up there like, oh, that California boy and Matthew Stafford, he'll have some trouble coming over here to Chicago. But people are kind of forgetting he used to play, 10 years in Detroit?
Yeah, he threw for 500 yards in Green Bay
Yeah.
in his time in Detroit. 500 yards, 5 touchdowns. Yeah, he's had good games in the cold.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Also, don't ask his head coach how he feels about our head coach, because I don't think they like each other either.
Ben Johnson and Sean McVay?
Yeah, Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur are really good buddies.
Yeah,
they're very good. They came from that Washington Redskins coaching tree, that Shanahan tree. They were all on the same staff with Shanahan.
That's right.
Yeah, so they've been really good buddies for a while. But
my favorite that popped up this entire week was Matt LaFleur and Matt Ryan hanging out on the sideline during the 28-3 comeback.
Oh yeah, that was
or comeback by the Patriots. Excuse me. So I thought that resurfacing was awesome. But
Yeah.
that was like I said, really nice words there from Matthew Stafford coming in for this Bears game. Again, they are going to be, Sunday. They're getting the main event here, folks. 7 p.m. here, Central Standard Time for Bears and Rams. Currently, the Rams on the road, 4.5-point favorites. I get it. I can understand that. I mean, at home, I'd probably give them 6 or 7 as well. Damn, I didn't mean to do that. But sorry, my apologies. It's going to be 5:30 on that call. 5:30 p.m. over on NBC/Peacock, whatever you might have service-wise. I'm pretty sure we'll have it over here on WRMN 1410
we do.
Here.
We will have all the playoff games, including from this point forward for the until the Super Bowl ends on WRMN. So that includes the 2 today. Any non-Bears playoff games will be aired right here on WRMN 1410s.
Yeah, and I think our guy Marcus Mack does a really good job of he's not here in person all the time. Obviously, he's out on the road. He uses it to the full extent.
Oh yeah,
he's out and about. You can be in whatever state you want because we're on YouTube now. Because we're over on that side
and the app. We have
the
an
app as
yeah.
well. You can listen into these games wherever, whenever. You can be in Europe, you can be in Berlin, London, wherever you want to be, and you'll be able to listen to this game. Thank you to WRMN 1410 for providing that and be able to listen to that across all the platforms that we have. So that's awesome to see. Again, if you're a Bears fan, which the Chicagoland area, they travel well. So I know a lot of Bears fans over in Arizona because you got to escape this cold in some sort of way. Got to fly either south down to Florida or over west towards the Phoenix area. And sure enough, like I said, the Bears still travel well. So hopefully, if you're going along somewhere, you're taking the Bears with you. Do that so when you take the WRMN 1410 app with you and listen to the Bears live there. So that's what you can do there. Let's talk Rams Bears.
Let's do it.
What are we thinking? What is your headline going into this game? What are you circling? What do you need to see?
For a Bears victory, or what am I expecting to see?
Just what's scaring you? What's keeping you up at night? Or maybe what are you most excited about? What are you, I gotta know.
Yeah,
What are you feeling?
The first thing that kind of draws concern to me is Ozzie Trapillo not being available. I think when you lose your left tackle, we've kind of seen Theo Benedict come in this year and he's had some spots where he's looked serviceable and some spots where he wasn't obviously in the greatest of shapes, or the greatest of games. But that's first and foremost. The line of scrimmage is always a thing of concern with this team. Maybe not a thing of concern, but it's just something to watch. Like if they can come out and assert the line of scrimmage, because that was kind of what brought everybody in when they played the Eagles this year. Is they came in and controlled the line of scrimmage against a team that everybody thought they wouldn't be able to in that regard. So that's the first thing. The more and more I read about this weather stats and stuff like that, the more and more I'm kind of trying to buy in, just because it's like 78 degrees in LA right now, and they've been practicing in that, and the Bears have been out here practicing. And also, dome teams are 1-15 in the playoffs in the last decade when playing in weather under 40 degrees at kickoff. So that might be something to keep your eye on. But the Bears, we say this week in and week out, but like this has to be one of the weeks where the Bears do run the football, because you cannot give Matt Stafford in this offense multiple possessions, and if you can limit the amount of possessions they have, I think that's the best chance for this Bears team to have victory.
For a Bears team that even the pass rush just clearly isn't as good as it should be, and you can't give a guy like that in Matthew Stafford all the time in the world to throw when he probably gets the ball out pretty quickly to begin with, because the just being so well rounded as he is. It might be a struggle. It might be an issue, because I think that was brought up either here. It was just brought to my attention a while back, because Bears against mobile quarterbacks are an issue. It's just, I think Bears against any kind of quarterbacks right now is a little bit of an issue, just because the pass rush is just that poor.
It's just not there.
Yeah, it just isn't there.
No, Booker has been playing. I think
stepped up. Yes.
Yeah, I think he's had 4.5 sacks in his last 5 or 6 games. So like he is coming on. And he's the best pass rusher right now, even though Montez Sweat is on this team.
I know.
But Montez Sweat did have he was noticeable in that Packers game as well. But this might be the most firework-filled fourth quarter we see, because these are the two quarterbacks that lead the league in EPA in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so. Again, not to take away from Sweat, like you mentioned, he did make that very humongous play on the third down that led to the eventual fourth down for the end of the game, which popped that ball out, but unfortunately went out of bounds. Looking at the Bears' current injury report, obviously we know Tremaine Edmonds, you said?
TJ Edwards.
TJ Edwards, my apologies. Broken leg, going to be out for the remainder of the season, for remainder of these last few games. We have Nick McLeod out officially for the Bears, did not practice all week long. Jalen Reeves-Maybin, a linebacker, is questionable. And then Rome Odunze, who's had a full participation in practice yesterday, he is going to the game questionable as well. Across the board, we got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, all good to go. Braxton Jones, DJ Moore, all set to go there for the Bears. The only thing on the other side for the Rams, I'm looking at just says unspecified for Matthew Stafford, obviously with his finger. We can get into that really quickly as well and see how important that might come down to. And I'm not really getting anybody else. Terrence Ferguson had a hamstring pop up, but he's been playing all week long, so their tight end situation seems to be okay.
Yeah.
Everything else seems to be good to go. What seems to, I mean, if we're getting on, if we're gonna go off fears really quickly, I think the obvious should be on the opposite end of Puka Nacua is just an absolute monster right now.
Dog.
And if there ever was a what's the problem with the Bears, it's definitely that secondary. It's just the defense right now is just banged up to all could be. Puka Nacua, it could just be poised to have an amazing game. Again, I don't want to throw too much out there, but you just saw Romeo Dobbs have an eight reception game for 120 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
You can only imagine what a guy like Puka can do in that same breath.
I actually think the Bears have a good secondary. It's just that the Bears don't have a pass rush. Like they have to be married together. Those two things are a symbiotic relationship. One helps the other so much, and I think that's what makes the Bears secondary look so pedestrian. I mean, they had Kevin Byard, who's going to the Pro Bowl. It's probably going to be an All-Pro selection, I would assume. So we'll see. We need to marry those two things together. The Bears do to figure that to have a chance. In my opinion.
Oh yeah. It's going to be that. The other two names that pop up for me in terms of who am I circling, who am I focusing on. It's going to be the duo tandem of Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. I feel like Blake Corum is has gone up in his play in the sense that he's gotten a lot more touches, and the result he's actually resulting in touchdowns and positive play and huge net yardage. So you kind of saw throughout the year where Kyron Williams obviously is a dog. He's a great player. He gets a ton of yardage and is a key focal point for the Rams. But then kind of as the game goes along, switch it and throw Blake in there, and he's that same energy, he's that same spark for that. So you basically don't miss a step when either one of these guys are back there. So that's gonna be a huge factor. And we kind of mentioned last week where not the most mobile or the most, they're not the biggest reception backs, but guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, guys like Christian McCaffrey are huge thorns on the Bears side of things. It's gonna be huge thorns on anybody's sides because they're just so amazing. But when you have the mobile, the running backs where you have to worry about them going all over the place, is that going to be a huge factor for you and something you're kind of focusing on?
As with those two, I think it's not as big as a matchup problem. I think their run game is going to be more of an issue because I think they will lean into it. Sean McVay has that background in run game, just like Mike McDaniel does. So I think that might be an issue. And to your point, I mean, Blake Corum, he was great at Michigan. He's used to being that bell cow kind of guy. So to have that two-headed monster of Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, I mean, when it's this cold, it's hard to throw the football. It's like a rock. Yeah. So that's where you'll see kind of the difference. And I mean, Blake Corum's 5'8" and he's 210. I mean, he is a bowling ball. He's built just like Kyle Monungai is. Maybe not as big as shoulders, but yeah, I think I mean, it all comes down to, I hate to say this, but like it literally just comes down to who wins the line of scrimmage. I mean, it's a game, and it's the game inside of the game. I mean, and we'll see. I still think in the back of my mind, I still have to think that weather is going to play a little bit of a factor. For sure. Just a little bit, because you get off that plane coming from LA, and even if it's tonight, and they're just literally from the walk off the plane to whatever bus they get on to come down to whatever hotel, they have to get off the plane and be like, damn, it's cold. Like, this sucks. Like, who would want to live here?
And the Bears have been they practice without the heaters or the heated benches out
all
there.
Season.
And a couple players were kind of like, "Oh, this is awful. We hate this." But I think it was Kevin Byard who went and said, "You know what? It did suck. However, we do see the benefit now of like, yeah, this is definitely a huge advantage of just playing outside, having that be a thing."
It's a big downside for the Let's Build a Dome crowd.
I know.
That was the other thing.
That is the drawback.
When I was at the game, that was like the biggest thing in my mind. Like pregame when the snow was coming down, that was my first thought. Is like, man, people want to build a dome and take this away. Like,
I know.
It's just insane.
I know. I'm 50-50 on that, where I as the fan, I don't want to sit there in negative 10-degree weather in any sort of way. I hate the wind chill blowing on me in any way. The selfishness again, as the wrestling fan, I know if you get a dome, you're gonna get a WrestleMania. I'll be priced out anyways. I'm not even gonna afford it. So at this point, there's no real need for me to even want one. I personally don't care. I'm all over the place now.
Now I was looking at stats for your boy Puka Nacua. Do you know he has played 16 games, 1,715 yards, averaging 13 yards a catch.
Okay.
So yeah, that is top 5 in the NFL by the way.
And on the flip side, they not only just have to deal with him, they have to deal with another familiar face in Davante Adams, who seems like his injury isn't going to be a lingering factor at all. He's had a hamstring. Kind of dealing with
it. The cold weather could play a factor.
That could be
the
case
soft
too.
tissue injury.
He did. I believe he left the last game against the Panthers. I think he got popped. But, we'll see how that kind of factors in as well. So again, not to just harbor in and like, okay, once we take care of Nacua, that's going to be okay. No, we have another crazy all-pro wide receiver to worry about in Davante Adams on the opposite end. So this is going to be all hands on deck for this game without a doubt.
And you talked about the running backs causing issues. I almost think it's not the running backs that they'll use to do their quick passing game. They run a lot of 3 and 4 tight end sets with the Rams. I mean, you saw that shift happen this year when they played in London against Jacksonville when Davante Adams and Puka Nacua were both kind of banged up. And that might be something to keep your eye on too. Just incorporate the use of 2. The Bears love their tight ends, so I think Sean McVay has shown that he can use 3 or 4 different tight ends as well.
Absolutely. In that same breath, you were kind of mentioning just the the advantage that can come down to this thing, and I like this, and we can kind of bleed into the next. Did you have anything else on this Bears Rams before I kind of dip into the next set of games that we have?
Only other thing I would think of is that the biggest advantage the Bears may have is in the special teams game.
Okay.
I mean, Cairo has been really good so far kicking at Soldier Field. The Achilles heel for the Rams this year has been their special teams. They literally fired their special teams coordinator a month ago, 4 or 5 weeks ago. So Devin Duvernay, he had a big return against the Packers. You know, if he could get 2 or 3 of those against the Rams, maybe block a punt or a field goal, I think that's kind of where the Bears can maybe, you know, shift momentum, because I think it's going to be hard to get Stafford rattled, but to be able to maybe change a field position or change a possession, I think that's the way the Bears are going to march to victory.
And again, that's kind of, everyone goes back to the Vikings game. How they got that good positioning was exactly that Devin Duvernay return to even set them up in such great positioning. So yeah, special teams. Again, this needs to be a full offense, defense, and special teams game.
Complementary football
in all sorts of ways for sure. And you know, kind of, I'll tie it in, and then be able to lay it into the other games that we have to preview and to recap from last week into this week. That advantage you said of, you know, coming in, having to deal with the cold. The Bears are the number 2 seed, but can easily maybe become the path to go to the Super Bowl if obviously you got to deal with the Rams first. But have you heard about this? Have you seen about this? A guy named Sam Darnold hasn't thrown a football since last Thursday. He injured his oblique, and them being the Seattle Seahawks, the number 1 seed, they're coming in a little shaken up, a little rattled already. So let's talk about this. We have the Seahawks and the 49ers tonight, actually, 7 p.m., and we got Bills Broncos to open up today at 3:30. How do we want to tackle this in terms of previewing these games and kind of recapping last week? How do we want to talk about this? We want to do Bills and Broncos?
Yeah, we'll just go. You want to go in order? You want to go sequential order?
Let's go Bills Broncos. Obviously, last week a nail biter. I was talking about these teams in terms of Bills Jags. These might be my 2 Super Bowl contenders. Yeah. One heck of a game coming down to the last possession for the Bills. They get the touchdown, and then on the tipped interception, the Bills are able to get an interception to end the game. Bills win 27-24 to set up this matchup right here in Denver. What are we thinking? What was our reaction to last week's game, and what are we thinking for the Bills this week?
It's just Josh Allen. It's literally Josh Allen versus the world, basically. The Bills have 3 wide receivers going into today's game. They have 3 healthy wide receivers. So that's just something to keep your eye on. You're going to see a lot of Dawson Knox. You're going to see a lot of Dalton Kincaid in this game. You're going to see a lot of James Cook in this game, I think. So, I mean, against all odds, we talked about it last week. Like, there has probably been no 6th seed in NFL history that is receiving the amount of pressure to go make a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl than what the Buffalo Bills are currently feeling right now. Yeah. So the fact that they, you know, I don't think Josh Allen really put his cape on last week. I just think he was very efficient. He did obviously some things with his legs. He got pushed all the way into the end zone from like the 9-yard line, which was kind of fun. But no, I think that this Josh Allen is basically that guy right now to where it's like, hey, do you want this guy or do you want the field? It's basically like the Tiger days. Like, hey, do you want to pick this guy or do you want to pick all the other quarterbacks to win? So that's just kind of my big thing. I think they were talking about this on Fantasy Football Blitz before us. They were talking about, you know, the run defense for Buffalo has been the Achilles heel. I just think, and really in my heart, I think this is that Sean Payton is such an egomaniac, and he's so much wanting to make it about himself and the success of this team about him that he will come out and try to prove a point that they will try to throw the ball way too much against Buffalo, and I think it's going to be a huge detriment to them.
Okay.
Because he was even talking to reporters and just – he's like, what do you know about playing downhill? And like asking all these very backhanded questions and kind of being an ass about it. And something about me in my heart thinks that Sean Payton is going to find a way to outthink the room in this, and it's going to cost them dearly in this game.
If you're talking about talking passes, I mean, Tre'Davious White actually showed up last week and made some key deflections on that Trevor Lawrence pass, a couple of Trevor Lawrence passes. So if Sean Payton thinks he's just going to get one over and think just easily that Bo Nix can be able to connect with Cortland Sutton or someone along those lines. I don't know. This Bills defense, the secondary is looking a little bit better than this past couple weeks. But again, I think that rush defense might be an issue, as R.J. Harvey's been pretty solid all season long.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and see that. And then again, talk about home field advantage. The altitude can play a factor as well. We see that again. It wasn't the sense of, I don't think the Jags lost that game. I do like Liam Cohen. I do like the reporter that complimented him on their Jags season. I don't know if you saw this. Maybe we'll get into like the Mamma Mia side of things. Did you see any of that? Did you see the blowback from people like not liking that the reporter was going in and basically complimenting Liam Cohen?
I guess there's a time and place for everything. But like, I didn't think it was that big of a deal either. Like, and I think she's with an independent paper based in Jacksonville. So
can we just be nice for 5 seconds?
Right. Like maybe she should have pulled him aside like in the hallway, let him know instead of taking the microphone. I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous. Like it took 30 seconds. It's not like she hogged the microphone for 5 minutes. No. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't like an acceptance speech on TV or something like that.
Right. Like to thank the Academy.
I think this was a nice way to do it. So yes, that was nice. Let's put out some positivity in the world just every now and again. I think that's mighty fine. Into the night game for tonight, we mentioned the Seahawks with a hurt Sam Darnold.
Yep.
The hurt side for the Niners is the defensive side, but a little bit of good news. I think Fred Warner's kind of isn't that opening up for him.
He is not going to play this week.
No,
but trending toward, if they win this game, he'll probably be suiting up next week to play in the NFC Championship game if they make it that far.
So another big dogs for the Niners. They were 6-point dogs last week against the Eagles. Went ahead and won 23-19. They are 7-point dogs here against the Seattle Seahawks heading into Seattle. What are we thinking for tonight's game between the Niners and Seahawks?
Something in me just tells me the Niners are going to win this game somehow.
Ooh.
Really do. Sam Darnold, has never won a playoff game in his whole career.
Has he ever been to the playoffs?
Yeah, they were in the playoffs last year.
Oh,
with the Vikings.
As a Viking, yeah.
He's never won a playoff game. So Brock Purdy is 4-0 in his career at Seattle against the Seahawks, which is just incredible because that's like one of the hardest places to play, in the league. I don't know. I think there's going to be. I think Seattle's going to come into this game so conservative that it's going to be a detriment. I think they're going to try to just not make a mistake, and I think they're going to play this game more not to lose it than to play to win it. And I think they're going to try to just keep Sam Darnold out of his own way. And again, I think that's going to be a huge detriment because I think the 49ers are going to come in with literally nothing to lose because they have literally nothing to lose. I mean, everybody's hurt, so nobody's picking the Niners. They're 7-point dogs. I think they're going to come in and let it fly. I think you're going to see all the stops. You're going to see the Juwan Jennings passes. You're going to see all the creativity that Kyle Shanahan can offer. And they've got Trent Williams, which is arguably, I think, the second most important piece behind Christian McCaffrey. And I just think they'll find a way. I really do. There's just something in me that I picked the Chargers and the Steelers last week because I'm a doofus, but something tells me that the Niners are going to find a way to win this game, and Kyle Shanahan's going to work some magic.
Right now, it looks like you're banking against the two teams that had bye weeks. Do you think that has a factor, just having that week off, or just?
I think in Seattle's case, it was more of a hindrance just because they're young. I mean, they're one of the youngest teams in the league, and I think when you have a young team that's playing well and rolling, I think you want to keep playing. Yeah, you don't want them thinking, you don't want them reacting.
Get out of the groove.
Yeah,
just have it. Yeah,
and you don't want your quarterback getting hurt literally mysteriously out of nowhere with an oblique injury. Yeah, that would just be a detriment. But this is going to be a low-scoring game. I would take the under. I don't think there's going to be more than 20 points scored by either team. I think this is going to be like a 17-13 game, 17-14, something like that. And I don't know. I just think they're going to find a way to grind it out. And Mike McDonald in his career so far as a Seattle head coach, I think he has 2 losses on the road, and he's got 6 losses at home.
Oh, wow.
So this team plays better on the road mysteriously. I can't figure out why, because if you look at every other head coach, it's kind of the inverse of that. So I don't know. Something tells me it's not gonna happen. Are you taking the Seahawks though? Are you gonna do it?
I'm just gonna probably be. I'm going to root for a good game. I think I'm just going to take the over. I think it's one of those games for me, but I can see in both regards where, it's been a tough, just a defense with the Seattle Seahawks where, again, kind of similar to the Legion of Boom in some regards, but just a suffocating defense. This could be something similar to what we saw in the regular season a couple weeks back, where it was like, what, 13-3 or 16-3?
Yeah, it was the final score, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a really just
13-3,
gross, just rock fight of a game throughout the entire time. But I don't think weather is too much of an issue. Looking like 50, maybe some, knowing Seattle might be some precipitation, but probably not. We'll
Sam Darnold has not turned the ball over this year against the 49ers, and combined in the two matchups, the teams have combined for 46 points total. So you might, I don't know about your over there, but Seattle's defense ranks first in DVOA, first in EPA, and second in yards per play this season. So
okay, all right.
They should be well lubricated in Seattle too. That should be a nice loud crowd. They've even encouraged people to be loud while they're going into the huddle.
Oh yeah, they've haven't had decent playoff football in a minute, and in terms of like, yeah, you know what, this feels like we're back again. So
since Legion of Boom, yeah.
We got two other games to kind of preview. We'll do that along with some Cubs news. Got a new hitter, got a new addition to that lineup, and Alex Lil Bregman, he changed his number for good fortune. We'll get to that and tons more right here on WRMN 1410 on the Rise.
Before the weather gets too cold, it's time to finish up those outdoor jobs. That's why ComEd wants you to know that electricity can jump from a power line to you and to the tools you're using. So maintain a safe distance from any power lines. You can also call ComEd at 1-800-EDISON-1 to have those power lines de-energized the next time you do any work around them. Stay smart, stay safe, stay back. ComEd, powering lives.
When tragedy strikes, you need more than a lawyer, you need a voice. Romanucci and Blandon fight for justice in cases of personal injury, wrongful death, civil rights, and medical malpractice. With over $1 billion recovered, their results speak loud. Call 312-458-1000 or visit rblaw.net. That's 312-458-1000. Romanucci and Blandon, national impact, personalized care. No fee unless they win. Proud supporter of America's First Responders Fest.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410. Elgin time, 11 o'clock.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. A big gesture this week from Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado. She says that she presented to President Trump her Nobel Peace Prize medal for him to keep when she paid a visit to the White House. She said it was as recognition for what she called his unique commitment with our freedom. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the president does deserve credit for transforming the political landscape of Latin America.
Think about before President Trump took over. You had more Marxist regimes in the Western Hemisphere under Biden than you did at the height of the Cold War. Colombia fell. Brazil fell under Biden. Obviously, Mexico's problematic. Cuba's terrible. Venezuela. Well, now, what? We've got an Argentina leader that's conservative. Chile just elected somebody more conservative. And now potentially having Venezuela move back to where they used to be could be very, very good.
Governor DeSantis made an appearance this week on the Scott Jennings Show on the Salem Radio Network. GOP strategist Aaron McGuire is pleased that the public is learning what really happened during the tragic shooting of Renee Good by a federal officer during an enforcement operation in Minneapolis.
And now the footage shows that officer was hit by that car. An officer who had previously been dragged by an ICE violent protester previously in his service to protect and serve communities around the United States.
Republican Congressman Tom Emmer of Minnesota says the truth is Democrat leaders in his state don't represent most citizens.
You want to see what Minnesota is? It's all red except for one dot that is Minneapolis and St. Paul. So it isn't reflective of Minnesotans.
Emmer was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear an appeal from agrochemical manufacturer Bayer to block thousands of lawsuits involving its popular weed killer Roundup. More from townhall.com.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-452-5454. 800-452-5454. Again, that's 800-452-5454.
A hacker admits he's guilty as charged.
A Tennessee man has pleaded guilty to hacking the U.S. Supreme Court's filing system more than 24 times. Court records show that Nicholas Moore also admitted on Friday that he illegally accessed accounts belonging to AmeriCorps and the Veterans Administration health system. U.S. District Judge Beryl Howell in Washington, D.C. is scheduled to sentence Moore on April 17th. Moore pleaded guilty to one count of computer fraud, a misdemeanor that carries a maximum prison sentence of 1 year. Keith Peters, Washington.
The U.S. and Taiwan have signed a deal easing sanctions on Taiwanese imports. That is in exchange for that country investing some $250 billion in U.S. chip manufacturing. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, TSMC, is already speeding up construction of new plants in Arizona. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Flu cases in the U.S. are down, but another surge could be right around the corner.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention posted the latest data showing a big drop in flu hospitalizations and a smaller but significant decrease in medical office visits due to flu-like illness. The number of states reporting high flu activity also fell from 44 to 36. But that doesn't mean the season is over, especially for the flu. CDC officials say that second surges in flu activity often happen after the winter holidays. So far this season, there have been at least 18 million flu illnesses and 230,000 hospitalizations. I'm Haya Panjwani.
The Utah man charged with killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk returned to court Friday as his attorney sought to disqualify prosecutors. That was because the daughter of a deputy county attorney involved in the case attended the rally where Kirk was shot. You'll find more on these stories at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Bob.
Kick off your weekend with a little flair. It's Dino's Night Out every Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. on WRMN 1410 AM. Dino brings you the best of the Fox Valley's entertainment scene. Live music, local artists, street festivals, great eats, and the personalities behind them. If it's happening, Dino's talking about it. And bringing the spotlight is none other than the legendary Arcada Theater, located at 105 East Main Street in St. Charles. Catch dinner, drinks, and a show, all under one historic roof. So whether you're making plans or just love to know what's hot, make it a date with Dino's Night Out. Fridays, 2 to 4 p.m. on WRMN 1410 AM. Or stream it live at WRMN1410.com. Dino's Night Out, powered by the Arcada Theater, where Fox Valley comes to play.
And welcome back, everybody. WRMN 1410. Ready to rock and roll. Another hour of On the Rise right here with Nick Johnson, Dalton Cooper. We just got done talking, previewing, recapping anything and everything under the NFL sun. We got one more game to talk about quickly. But of course, we're going to get to some Cubs talk and some other baseball news that happened this past weekend. Big names being moved around, thrown around. But really quickly, let's go ahead and dive quickly back into the NFL realm. We have one more game to talk about, and that is indeed Texans and Patriots. How did we get here? Well, my friends, I'll quickly tell you. Monday night, we jump ahead as Mike Tomlin, who was, what do we say, 11-0 at home on a Monday night, going into those games.
I think he was 28-5 all time.
Yeah, like 22-3 or something like ridiculous. Some crazy stat. Some huge winning percentage. Out the window. Don't matter. See ya. Adios. The Texans defense comes in and just lays waste to Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, potentially ending Aaron Rodgers' career on a pick six. And again, as Bears fans, take down the Packers to advance into the playoffs and have Aaron Rodgers potentially end his career with a pick six. Bears fans are smiling from ear to ear, but just a 30-6 dismantling of the Steelers from the Texans defense. Anything to take away from that Monday night game, and what do we think between the Texans and Patriots heading in? Because I mean, we could sit here talk Patriots Chargers a little bit, but there's not really all too much to talk about there. Other than if you want to talk about how much Justin Herbert was on his backside.
Oh my God, yeah, that was depressing. As somebody that wanted the Chargers to win, but no, my biggest takeaway from the Steelers-Texans game was that the Steelers had every opportunity to win that football game.
It was 7-6 at one point.
They got 4. I mean, C.J. Stroud had 4 fumbles and interception. Like, he was trying to give the game away, and you could tell the frustration with Aaron Rodgers pretty quickly in that game, especially in the first half. He was getting upset because he knew what was going on. Like, they were not being able to move the ball. I think the longest drive they had in the second half against that Texas defense was 24 yards or 26 yards, I think was the longest drive they have. So to not be able to capitalize on those opportunities they had in the beginning of that game, Aaron Rodgers knew the inevitable was coming, and the Texans defense is really good. You know, in C.J. Stroud's, I think they've played 4 playoff games under C.J. Stroud. They have 5 defensive touchdowns in those 4 games. So if anybody's ever going to talk about a quarterback getting carried, I think we have to talk about C.J. Stroud getting carried.
That's fair.
So
the stat I saw, not related to C.J. Stroud, but just the Texans in general, the Texans now have just as many playoff wins as the Cardinals. The Texans were founded in 2002. The Cardinals were founded in 1898.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of funny in that same. Again, just not to oversee it, but Patriots take down the Chargers 16-3. Not too much to write home about there. Again, like I mentioned, if you were a fan of Justin Herbert getting sacked 7 times, the only thing I would say quickly there is I believe there might be high school offensive lines that might have a better PFF ranking than the Chargers did. That was I think their best guard or their best offensive lineman was ranked like 25th.
Yeah,
which is mid at best.
At best, yeah.
So a tough one there. I won't put that one too much on Justin Herbert, but man, oh man, that was just a horrible game to end what was basically 5 amazing games throughout the entire weekend.
My biggest takeaway for the Chargers, too, I was thinking about this on Tuesday after they fired their offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, is that they are going to be in a very similar situation that the Lions were in this past year. You're going to have Harbaugh, and then you're going to have to probably replace both coordinators because Jesse Minter is a very hot name as far as the head coaching searches go. Yeah. He's probably going to get a head coaching job somewhere. So then you're going to have Harbaugh having to replace both coordinators, and I just don't know. I don't know if that's going to go well. We've seen how hard it can be with Detroit. Now, can Harbaugh do the same thing and actually have success? I mean, the Eagles did not have the greatest success either. I mean, they only replaced one coordinator, so we'll see what happens.
You're definitely onto something again with saying that Minter. That has definitely been the name that's been thrown around the most in terms of the next hot commodity coordinator that can come out and become the head coach. That's been the name I hear the most as of right now. Quickly, Texans, Patriots. Patriots 3-point favorite at home. Total is 40.5. Anything really quickly? I saw ESPN, the NFL Live, all take the Texans, and they all realized it all at the same time. They went, no, we all just jinxed it. I'm gonna lean Texans still. Not in the sense of like I believe, I don't believe in Drake May, the MVP season, this, that, and the other. He looked poised, and he's looked that all season long. I think this Texans defense will rattle him, and there's just not a lot of receivers and a lot of help that he's going to be able to provide on the other side. So Texans defense might be another big one for him.
I don't know. Nico Collins isn't going to play in that game.
Oh, that's true.
So I think it's going to come down. It's going to come down to the rookie wide. I think Jaden Higgins is going to be the X factor. If Jaden Higgins has a good game, which he did drop a touchdown pass on Monday night against the Steelers, that's going to be the difference in the game to me. I think the Patriots do win that game though. I think Drake May makes one more play, finds a way. His legs are going to be a big factor in that game also. They were a big factor against the Chargers. I think they're going to be bigger against the Texans.
I'll shout out quickly Woody Marks. He had his first 100-yard game for the Texans last week, and his first time in his career. He's coming off his rookie season this year. I believe that could be a factor there because it did look like for a little bit that we saw a glimpse, not the whole game, but a couple plays here and there where I'm like, Nick Chubb looks a little bit like Cleveland Browns Nick Chubb there for a second.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that exactly. But I think that'll be a decent game. That'll be 2 p.m. tomorrow on Sunday, and then following, like we mentioned, like we previewed already, 5:30 p.m. Lock it down. Don't call me. Bears, Rams, NBC. We're ready to roll right there. All righty. If you're good to go, I'm ready to roll.
Let's do it.
Let's talk a little baseball, yeah? Let's flip from the gridiron to the diamond. Switch to a different set of cleats here. We had some baseball news happening down in the city of Chicago. Big name. And, a little guy there. Bregman coming into town. Alex Bregman coming into town. 5 years. $175 million. Changing his number. And I don't know if you heard this one. He goes, change it to number 3. So I want my 3rd championship. That's what he said there. I thought that was a nice little kind of speak it into existence. But reactions, thoughts, questions, concerns. Alex Bregman to the Cubs, 5 years, $175 million. What was your reaction?
I mean, it's great to see the Cubs spending money finally. And, we've all talked about what they were going to do at that hole at third base. Not the saying that Matt Shaw is not a hole. It's just kind of what Blake had mentioned too. Like, we just don't know what you're going to get with the bat from him. Honestly, my first reaction was, what in the hell are the Boston Red Sox doing? But I guess this is a Chicago show, so we'll keep it Chicago based.
We'll call our guy Aaron Sheelan.
Yeah.
We're going to get a Boston reaction.
Nico Horner is kind of on the hot seat now too. That's kind of the big hoopla. He's on his last year of his deal going into the season. So a lot of people have talked about what's kind of the future looking like for him. I think the Cubs should go all in. I don't think they should move Nico Horner. If they lose him in free agency, so be it. But we're looking at a lockout next year anyway, so I think it's kind of a moot point. And it's just great. I mean, it's going to be really hard to compete with the Dodgers, and that's kind of who they're looking at this point. But
who also made headlines. We'll get to that in a little bit.
But no, I think it's a great deal for the Cubs. It's a great deal for Bregman, and I mean, it just kind of puts the Cubs right there at the top of the list of contending teams, I think, in the National League, and I think in Major League Baseball. I mean, you got to think they're probably a top 5 team now.
Oh, you would think so. You would definitely think so in that same regard. And rolling in here, if you know, Cubs convention is actually going on.
Yeah,
right
this
now.
weekend. Yeah.
So they had him on. I believe, what was I listening to on the way in? It don't matter. They had Anthony Rizzo on, and I think he had a pretty good kind of an idea just for the Cubs in general, just like, hey, what do they need to do? How do they need to start? They need to start off hot. They need to start off hot right away, and this would be the right way to do it with a Cubs team that's kind of coming together. They're making moves. They're making headways. They're making the free agent moves. They're maybe make another trade or possibly, but they did that already with Cabrera. So you see them trying. They're doing something. I think that's going to be the way to go.
Keep the trash cans away from him. That's all I got to say.
That's very true. Very true. But again, this kind of throws Bregman. I don't think this is a big, like, what do you do position-wise? But, throw Bregman at third. Like, what do you do with Shaw now? Like, where is he going to be?
I would love to see him become either a utility man or even spend some time in the outfield. I think. Yeah. I mean, defensively, he's great. He was the one prospect that they were not willing to part ways with when he was coming up through the system and everything. So I think obviously you're going to keep him, but I think they got to keep everybody. They got to keep the band together. And I think it's a long season. It's a 162 game season. Injuries are going to happen. It's nice to have that extra guy around just in case, somebody's got a hamstring or an ankle or a wrist or a hand or whatever the case may be. I think having too much talent is not a thing. That is a great problem to have, and I think that's kind of what the Cubs are looking at.
I mean, that's what every team has done. When you look at the Yankees and the Dodgers these past couple of years, like, oh, how do they get to the World Series? Oh, it's because they just stockpiled a bunch of arms. And they were able to get the rotation going and just have a bullpen that was, being able to eat innings and stuff like that. So I know this is obviously Bregman a hitter in that same breath, but it's what you got to do. Again, too much talent is not a thing.
Last thing, sorry, I mean, did you know the Astros offered Alex Bregman $156 million for 6 years back in 2024? He has now made $215 million since then through his contracts with Boston and Chicago.
Oh wow, there you go.
That's insane. Talk about betting on yourself.
Exactly,
the
right.
Kirk Cousins of the MLB.
I don't know if he likes that comp. We'll see.
Maybe not.
quick, just on the details again. The Cubs signed Bregman to a 5-year, $175 million contract with a full no-trade clause and $70 million in deferred payments. The Cubs have deferred money before, namely in contracts for outfielder Jason Hayward and pitcher John Lester that helped them in 2016, obviously coming out on the 10-year anniversary of that, and they're going to go ahead and market the heck out of that this year.
Yeah.
But nothing like this number that they went ahead and had for Bregman. So was that also a big thing, just seeing the deferred money being made here?
Yeah, I think the Dodgers have made that very popular now. I think you'll see more and more teams look at it this way. And I think especially with the lockout happening, I think you'll see a little bit more of that going on too, because we're going to find out if there's going to be a salary cap or not, which is going to make moving the money around a little bit interesting. The other thing too is now the Cubs officially have the top 2 draft picks from the 2015 MLB draft class.
Really?
Yeah, number 1 in that class. Do you remember who it was?
In 2015?
Yep.
Oh, man. No, I mean, MLB drafts are so awful.
It was Dansby Swanson.
Okay.
Yeah, Dansby Swanson was taken number 1 overall in that draft, and then Alex Bregman was taken number 2. So the Cubs both have the top 2 draft picks from that draft class. So that's going to be interesting to see. Brendan Rodgers was the 3rd overall pick. He is a free agent right now. And no MLB team in history has ever had a top three players in a draft class play on the same team
That'd
together.
be pretty interesting.
So that would be interesting.
Do you remember when you saw this push notification come up? Were you able to get service at Soldier Field at that time when this news
No, actually,
dropped?
I didn't. I think it was halftime I saw that. I went and got a hot chocolate because it was freezing. But I think I got a hot chocolate and I saw it on my phone that that Bregman had signed with the Cubs, and I was like, oh my God, is this an omen? Is this is happening?
And that's where I was. The Bears were still trailing. I was leaving Windy City at the time. I'm pulling out of the Now Arena. Like I said, the Bears are still trailing. I see Jeff Passan pull up as a push notification. Cubs just signed Alex Bregman. I just grab my phone, I throw it at the floor, and I go, this night can't get any worse. As a White Sox fan and a Bears fan, I was not having it right then and there. But again, kind of like that Buffalo Wild Wings commercial when they call like, hey, we want some overtime or something like that.
Yeah, the B-Dubs commercials too, where they like push that button.
That's where it kind of felt like, oh, that push notification went. Okay, and then the Bears started scoring. Then the Zacchaeus touchdown. Then the Odunze touchdown. Like, all right, Brandon McManus missed another field goal. Okay.
Here we go. Things are looking up.
This is looking all right. I guess maybe Bregman's not the worst thing right now.
Oh, my God. That's
so
funny.
I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was really funny. And then, like I said, all the people coming together in that same regard, they're like, yeah, I think that comeback, Bregman, Bregman, yeah.
And I think he's going to the game this weekend. I think Bregman is.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty solid.
PCA was at the game last week, too. Apparently him and Caleb are buddies.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
Nice. Again, just keep the city strong. Keep all the
superstars hanging out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that'd be pretty solid. You did mention the Dodgers, and they made a little bit of headwaves, too. They went ahead and signed Kyle Tucker. I don't believe I'll look up any details on his contract if there are any. But Kyle Tucker, that notification came through on that as well. Same question, kind of what was your reactions, if there was really any other than just like, ugh, Dodgers get one again.
He signed a 4-year, $240 million deal.
Ooh, wow.
$60 million a year for Kyle Tucker is actually, I think I saw this, it was like 85% of the Miami Marlins payroll, or 95% of the Miami Marlins payroll for one player. So
and quickly to kind of tie in Cubs and Marlins, did you see the potential Marlins lineup this year? They'll be the first team maybe ever to have their entire lineup consist of people they've traded for all within the last like 3 or 4 years. Like it's all guys they've acquired from 2022, 2023, 2024 trades. Like none of these guys are, I guess, homegrown talent. They've all been acquired. Which is kind of funny.
I mean, it's just the way they got to do business.
Yeah.
Well,
they don't need to. They could just try.
The new contract, Kyle Tucker's going to make $1.90 per second. He's going to make $114 per minute. He's going to make $6,849 per hour, $164,384 per day, and $5 million per month.
Oh, man, that makes me just feel useless.
It's just, it's a good day to be Kyle Tucker's agent.
Yeah, indeed it does. Does the money? Does that? I mean, is that justified at all in his?
I think most of it is
production.
I think it was like 30 or 40 million of it was deferred.
Okay.
I believe so. Which I think which is really obnoxious when you look at the deferred payments for the Dodgers. That's a whole different story.
Oh yeah.
They've got like $2 billion over. I think it's $2.1 billion in deferred money that they're going to owe
about right.
to players. As far as the money situation, I think at this point the Dodgers don't really care. They have the means, they have the ownership to do it, and I think that they are kind of, they have the superstar among all. So they have Ohtani, and they're just trying to continue to build around that team. And just like I said a minute ago, there is no such thing as having too many good players on your roster. I mean, that is a complete myth.
I mean, that lineup is looking absolutely just stacked to the gills.
Yeah, when you have like Will Smith hitting 8th in your lineup, and he was borderline an NLCS MVP candidate. Like, he was one of the big reasons why they got to the World Series and why they won a World Series title. I mean, it's just insane.
I mean, you can make, again, guys like Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, you're going to get him, Mookie Betts, Max Muncy. I know it's not the playoffs, but Teoscar Hernandez will still be a viable option. Tommy Edman, Kike Hernandez, and right now, oh no, that's not true. These Miguel Rojas.
There is an opt-out after the second year for Kyle Tucker, by the way.
Okay,
an opt-out clause.
All right, well, we'll see how that plays out in any sort of way. Yeah, I mean, who's left really? I mean, the other, again, obviously the other biggest move that went ahead and broke yesterday. New York Mets, Bo Bichette heading over to New York, which that's looking like a mighty fine core in Juan Soto, Marcus Semien, Francisco Lindor,
yeah,
and then now of course Bo Bichette, all looking mighty fine right there in New York.
And the Dodgers did get Edwin Diaz, by the way. I don't know if you forgot about that. They got the Mets closer, arguably the best closer in baseball, is now playing in LA too.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I'll quickly. I want to get your Bo Bichette reaction quickly as well, but the other LA team, the LA Angels, were still making some moves. They got Josh Lowe in a 3-way trade with the Rays and the Reds.
Yeah, that's huge. That is monumental. I can't believe we didn't lead the show with that, to be honest.
I know. I mean, again, you always hear the argument of like, oh, White Sox are always going to be the little brother to the Cubs, but it doesn't even feel like the Dodgers and Angels are related.
They're playing a different sport.
Oh yeah, that's
totally different sport.
That would be like the star child coming home like, oh, you got another award there, and then like the Angels are like the kid that lives underneath lives in the crawl space. Like, you get back into your shed, eat your fish heads. You get back there.
And it's official now that Bo Bichette, Alex Bregman, and Kyle Tucker are all out of the American League now.
Okay.
That's kind of something to think about.
Yeah. I mean, that's very, that's very big for now, obviously. I keep feeling like I'm jumping all over the place now, but did you hear Manfred kind of talking about realigning things and essentially how the AL and NL might be almost coming to a close because he kind of wants to go to a East versus West. He feels like that's going to be a better structure.
Really?
Of just divisions, conferences, just dealing with travel. He was kind of bringing up I always think now, I've been bringing up time to time on these shows now, that travel just isn't an issue anymore with these guys. Like, they're on luxury planes. They're getting private,
like 9 meals a day.
Yeah, they're very much taken care of in any sort of way. Yes, is it an inconvenience to not do anything for 5 hours? Yeah, but they're on their iPad, they're on their phone, they don't care. They're taking a nap. Like, this is travel. Like, oh man, they got to go from Boston to LA. That means nothing to me at anymore at this case. So I feel like that. I don't know. I feel like that hopefully doesn't change the AL NL. I maybe restructured a little bit so it's the divisions maybe make sense, or just like geographically it make more sense. But don't get rid of AL NL. I don't think that's going to be the route to go.
No, I didn't even know I hadn't even seen this yet.
He brought that up and was kind of lightly talked about softball out there. So we'll see how that kind of plays out maybe as well. But yeah, just kind of if we had any kind of closing thoughts on Bo Bichette going to New York.
No, just be interesting to see if he's healthy and how healthy he can get back to. I know he was basically playing in the World Series with one leg and still made a huge impact. Hit that 3-run home run in Game 7 to make that game very interesting.
Yeah.
But the World Baseball Classic is this year too. Alex Bregman has, I guess, confirmed to play for Team USA as well. So
the only thing that I was again listening to on the way here, Rizzo again at that Cubs convention confirming he will not play for Team Italy. He will not play for Team.
Okay.
He's kind of on that side of like, I don't want to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Speaking of a guy who might be kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, I don't know. We're kind of going around the horn of who's moving where, who's doing what. I don't know if you saw Eloy Jimenez signing you see one guy leaving, Bo Bichette. Maybe another guy can come in. Eloy Jimenez signs a minor league deal with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh,
anything there? Is that a needle mover for you in the slightest?
Again, huge. This is monumental news that we're breaking here on WRMN 1410. Last thing with the Bo Bichette, his salary in 2026 is going to be $42 million. Dante Bichette, his entire career earnings, $42.8 million.
Of course, that's his father.
Yeah, yeah. So, like father, like son.
Inflation.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. I mean, this is shaping up to be a very interesting off season. We got a couple more big names. I mean, more on kind of like the pitching side of things. Not humongous, but guys are. Michael King still needs to find a home. A guy like Max Scherzer still on the market in these lower end, but still highly valued pieces. But again, these aren't the big names. Is there anything else on the MLB side? Because I know we got some cool stuff coming up as well.
Yeah, not that I can really think of too much other than the couple free agent signings, but this is going to be the most important year that baseball probably has ever had.
Why is that?
Because we have a pending doom coming up on the next, in 2027. Yes. So I think this is going to be the season, arguably, that could shape the future of Major League Baseball if you think about it.
Well, hopefully that is the case. Hopefully we are playing ball in 2027. We're for sure playing something in 2026. So that's going to be fun to see everything there. Well, like I said, we talked enough football, and we got some baseball in there as well. We're going to get to a little bit of everything else in this next go-around. We got some hockey to talk about, a little bit of basketball, and then we'll flip back. Like I said, we'll come back to that spin the wheel, because that wheel was fun. That wheel was addicting, so we'll get to that as well. WRMN 1410 on the rise. Nick Johnston and Dalton Cooper here. We got you for another 30 minutes or so. Lock in right here. We'll be back.
If your idea of therapy involves a fishing rod, a tree stand, or a campfire, then you need American Outdoors Radio. Host John Cruz speaks your language, whether it's about the best lures, tracking game, or that one buddy who always forgets to bring the beer. John's got the tips to sharpen your aim, the hacks to pack lighter, and the stories to keep you entertained. Again, that's American Outdoor Radio with John Cruz. Saturdays at 7 a.m. on WRMN 1410. Or stream it at WRMN1410.com. Get ready to outfish, outhunt, and outcamp them all on American Outdoor Radio with John Cruz.
For nearly 50 years, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council and Kane Senior Council have been dedicated to serving seniors in DuPage and Kane counties. Established in 1975, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council is a volunteer-driven 501c3 non-for-profit organization committed to helping older adults live with dignity. From providing nutritious meals to offering support services, the Kane Senior Council is there every step of the way. With programs designed to enhance independence and quality of life, they're proud to make a difference in the lives of their senior neighbors. To learn more or to volunteer, visit them at 418B Airport Road in Elgin or head to their website at caneseniorcouncil.org. Give them a call at 630-338-0999. That's 630-338-0999. That's the Kane Senior Council, caring for seniors because they deserve to live with dignity and respect. Visit caneseniorcouncil.org or call 630-338-0999 today.
We are AFGE, the American Federation of Government Employees. We represent 700,000 federal and D.C. government workers who are the vital threads of the fabric of American life. We support our nation's military. We take care of our nation's veterans. We protect our nation's borders. We respond to our nation's crises and natural disasters. We provide services to our nation's seniors. The American Federation of Government Employees. We work for America.
We are AFGE, the American Federation of Government Employees. We represent 700,000 federal and D.C. government workers who are the vital threads of the fabric of American life. We support our nation's military. We take care of our nation's veterans. We protect our nation's borders. We respond to our nation's crises and natural disasters. We provide services to our nation's seniors. The American Federation of Government Employees. We work for America.
They're simple, boring, never thought of until they're needed. They're windshield wipers. Only when Mary Anderson became annoyed that New York trolley drivers were stopping to wipe their windshield by hand did anybody do something about it. By attaching a spring-loaded arm to a rubber blade, one woman made travel easier and safer. Look to innovate and pass it on. From passiton.com.
The new year means new resolutions, not just for your body, but for your finances as well. Did you know that financial health is directly related to your identity protection? This is why you need LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back. Resolve to make your identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. Terms apply.
Welcome back, everybody. WRMN 1410 on the rise. Nick Johnston, Dalton Cooper, ready to lock in, rock and roll. Get the rest of this sports news out for you. Well, that's like I said. We went to the gridiron, we went to the diamond. Let's go over to the ice. What are we looking at between Blackhawks, Ice Hogs, Wolves, Steel? What do we got there, Dalton?
Well, the Blackhawks are still right there on that bubble that we keep talking about of being playoff worthy, though the Central Division is a nightmare. But we had some other news this week. The AHL All-Stars were announced, and the Chicago teams, that being the Rockford Ice Hogs and the Chicago Wolves, are sending 5 players to the 2026 AHL All-Star game that is actually happening in Rockford this year. It's going to be in February. I believe it's the second week of February.
A little stone's throw away from our neck of the woods.
Yeah, I want to say it's the 11th, the 10th through the 13th, or the 10th through the 12th, something along those lines. But the 5 representatives, the 2 Rockford players that will be there, reigning All-Star Game MVP of last year is Kevin Korchinski. He will be representing the Ice Hogs, and then also Nick Lourdes, which that'll be interesting because he's actually playing with the Blackhawks right now.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting if he plays. He's had a great year. And then the Wolves sent 3 representatives. They had defenseman Dominic Fenshore, they had Bradley Nadeau, and then Justin Robidas. So it'll be interesting to see those 3 players join the festivities. But it's been a good week for the hometown teams. Rockford's currently on a 2-game win streak. Tuesday night they defeated Manitoba 6-2. And then also last night both teams were in action. Rockford defeated Grand Rapids Griffins, who have been the hottest team in the AHL. They're on record-setting paces. They beat them 3-1 last night. Shout out to the goaltender Besnoy. He had a good night. Was almost perfect except for the last 3 minutes of the game. And then the Wolves defeat the Milwaukee Admirals last night 5-4 to keep their Central Division positioning. The Wolves are currently second in the Central, and the Ice Hogs are looking to move up and to be in a playoff spot. I believe they're a point out. But it'll be interesting. They actually do face off tonight. The Ice Hogs are visiting the Chicago Wolves at Allstate Arena. It's the halfway to summer game, by the way. So if you get there early, you get you a nice Chicago Wolves Hawaiian shirt. So I'll be in attendance for that game. Check out some of the action. Chase will be with me as well, taking some pictures. And you can check out that tonight at Allstate Arena at 7 o'clock. Should be a good matchup. Obviously, I've always been curious to know. Maybe we should ask Dana this next time if there's like animosity between these two teams, just because they are so close to one another. But I feel like there's got to be a little bit of a rivalry built between these two organizations.
Yeah, you would think so. Something like that.
So, but no, been a big week for the AHL. And then the other news, our very own Mike Napolitano had a chance to catch up with Blackhawks star Frank Nazar at a Roosevelt game last night.
I'm trying to pull that up right now.
We do have the video, the full interview up on our social medias, Instagram on the Rise and WRMN 1410, and on Facebook at 1410 WRMN. Check out that full interview. I think we have a little bit of a snippet as well. I don't know if you were going to play it or not.
I'm trying to
I'll filibuster too. The other news before we get into the Frank Nazar, the WNBA All-Star Game is coming to Chicago in 2026. That was released this morning too. Dwayne Wade is going to be one of the co-chairs for this event. So he personally went on his social media and put out the message. Going to be pretty cool. We have Derrick Rose night coming up for the Chicago Bulls, and just really cool to see another Chicago basketball legend. And Dwayne Wade supporting the WNBA is going to be part of the festivities. And I think it's going to be a great time. Summertime, I think WNBA All-Star Game is normally in June. I believe June or July. So that'll be a good time to have everybody here in the city. Like you said, it'll be a lot of traffic, but it should be a nice event being held here, and should be a lot of representation. Hopefully this kind of puts into gear of building a new arena for the Sky. They've been in process of building a new facility, a new practice facility, and things of that nature. So maybe this publicity will shine a light on the provinces, or like the hopes of having an up-to-date stadium and practice facility.
I think
So
something like that.
we'll see. Maybe a little pressure.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I think I finally am able to get close. There we go.
Nice.
Now we finally got it. Here we go. So there's going to be our guy, Mike Napolitano, talking to Frank Nazar here from the Chicago Blackhawks.
Napolitano, and I'm here with Blackhawks forward Frank Nazar. Frank, a little bit different environment for you here, but still hockey. I assume you were here to watch the Northwood team, because you're originally from Michigan, who got the better of the Roosevelt Lakers tonight. Were you here watching a former teammate or a friend of yours?
Yeah, had a few buddies out there on the ice, so it was pretty fun to come and enjoy and just watch some hockey. Been sitting out, so figured get my work in the morning, come and enjoy some time here at the rink at night.
I hate even asking this question, but were you excited when they changed the score from 6 to 7?
Yeah, of course, right? Inner child in me is going on.
Well, we know the Blackhawks have taken a little bit of a hit with this stomach bug going around. Has it hit you, and what's this atmosphere like? We haven't really seen an illness spread through a team like this in quite some time.
No, I got pretty lucky. I haven't been around much of the guys lately, just being out with injury, but I was able to avoid it, and you never know, it could be coming back, so I'll try to keep avoiding it.
So nice job there, Mike.
Yeah,
there
shout out to him. And again, you can catch the full interview on our social medias as well. They have been battling a stomach bug. Everybody wash your hands. It's been going around. I know you've dealt with it.
Yeah.
It's now hitting my residency. The flu going around. So wash your hands. Do what you can. That vitamin C is essential right now.
My trick always is you go, you wash your hands. What color was the soap?
Oh, okay. Nice. Nice. Yeah.
I said working as a camp counselor for some years. That was the trick.
How well did that work? That worked pretty well.
It hit like 80% of the time. I'll
Gotcha.
be honest. Those were some dirty little kids.
It's always the kids. But yeah, shout out to Mike getting to talk with Frank Nazar, and thank you to Frank Nazar for taking a couple minutes to talk with us. I know Mike likes to ask those hard hitting questions about 6-7. You can also, Mike did ask him about his Bears take coming into this weekend, so feel free to check out that full interview and what he thinks of our Chicago Bears.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got a couple more minutes here. We got our wheel is back.
Nice.
Our wheel is back this time. Not gonna
the wheel of wow.
Yeah, not gonna determine what we talk about necessarily. Not those same topics, but here we have in our wheel today the 9 teams that need to fill in a head coach. We recently did fill in one, but we'll talk about that. But we have 9 teams here at the NFL level that need some help. They need some guidance. They need a head coach here for the 2026 season. And let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and spin the wheel, and let's kind of figure out who might be the best fit for these positions. Again, we have 9 teams here between the Giants, Dolphins, Cardinals, Browns, Steelers, Ravens, Titans, Raiders, and the Falcons. Before we get to this, I just want to say how crazy that the AFC North almost lost, and you can justify every coach being fired in that guard, but somehow, some way, Zach Taylor skates on by. You got a little Bengals fandom in you? Is it Joe Burrow?
Oh no, it's the Bengal
Okay,
fandom,
okay.
unfortunately.
Okay, I just want to quickly. Were you okay with Zach Taylor sticking around, or were you
we kind of knew it was on.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of knew he was sticking around. The Bengals never fired. I mean, look at Marvin Lewis, for God's sake. Marvin Lewis lived in playoff mediocrity and still had a job for 10 years.
I think the real punch in the gut is if you are a Bengals fan, you saw their social media. The big statement that they put on social media was like, "Oh yeah, no, we're confident that Zach Taylor and everybody else is gonna be good." And you're like, "Oh, I don't know, why would you do that?"
Indigestion, yeah.
Yeah, so that one was probably tough for some. But let's go ahead. Let's spin this wheel. Let's figure out where some of these head coaches, who should be talked about and whatnot. So let's go ahead and get it. Like I said, man, the Giants are on here, but we'll get to them anyways. And well, just flipping right next to it, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the Dolphins really quick. The Dolphins. So losing out on Mike McDaniel, or not losing out, but firing Mike McDaniel after I read that they were actually asking him, Mike McDaniel, about helping and looking into a new GM. But sure enough, I believe it was Darren Waller who was in a meeting, his exit meeting on the year. He was just on, I believe he was on a podcast recently talking about this. He goes, yeah, he was in the conversation with Mike McDaniel, and then in comes the Dolphins head man, the owner, and he's just like, yeah, Mike McDaniel to Darren Waller. He's like, yeah, we'll pick up in a couple minutes. We'll hold on. Out goes Darren Waller, and then out also goes Mike McDaniel as he gets fired.
Nice. So Stephen Ross came in and fired him in the middle of Darren Waller's exit interview.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, that seemed to be the case. So, who are we leaning towards getting the Dolphins head coaching job? And even if we want to talk about maybe what Mike McDaniel might be on the up and up.
Well, to answer your Mike McDaniel question, I think the Eagles should have hired him yesterday as their offensive coordinator.
Wow,
I think he is a great fit in Philadelphia.
He's getting interviews across the board. I think he just interviewed with
the Ravens. Yeah, which would be an interesting fit.
Oh yeah.
But I think if the Eagles called him to be the OC, I think he should take that job, because we've seen it. The Eagles offensive coordinators, as soon as they have any kind of success, they're moving on to another head coaching job anyway. And I think just from being a Dolphins fan, I think just him taking a back seat, maybe learning more. I don't know, and I can't speak to the culture side of things, but I mean, as far as the organization goes, they've always graded highly on how they treat their players and their family members, and that kind of that survey that comes out. But as far as who the remind me, the Ravens? No, the Ravens. Yeah, that's who we're on. No,
Dolphins.
Dolphins. Mike McCarthy feels like the name that is going to fit in Miami. I just think the way that he likes to run his offense and sets up very highly on pass catchers. They still have Tyreek Hill. They still have Jalen Waddle. If they keep Darren Waller, they bring him back. I think that could fit really well with the offensive scheme that Mike McCarthy likes to run. And plus, Mike's been around. He's done it. I think it'd be more interesting to see what kind of staff that he were to bring with him. I think that would be the biggest tall tale sign. But I think Mike McCarthy makes the most sense now that John Harbaugh is kind of spoken for.
And again, like this Dolphins team, you can make jokes about Tua and whatnot, but honestly, this offense looks just there's a lot of huge things in this offense. Obviously, Devon Achane might be the fastest player on the field at any given time, any given place. So you have a huge upside in him. You have a returning Tyreek Hill on the offensive side coming off that horrendous knee injury, but again, he'll be back next season, good to go. And then you still got a young Jalen Waddle. It's just a kind of, again, just what are you going to do? What do you do QB wise?
Yeah.
Eat that Tua money, or do you just say, heck, let's just roll with Quinn Ewers?
I could see Tua starting next year, honestly, the way that everything's kind of gone down. And I think it'd probably make the most sense just to play him, because it's not like, I don't think anybody's out there trying to trade for him.
Yeah.
Unless there was an injury that ever happened, coming into like preseason and stuff like that. But we talked about earlier how Green Bay has to build their team a specific way. Miami is the exact opposite, where they can build their team through free agency because guys don't mind playing in Miami.
Oh yeah,
so
I love coming down there.
like I said, I think Mike McCarthy is the fit.
What would it be, the property tax out the window? So they love that
income tax. Yeah.
Oh yeah. When you I'll quickly go to another one in just a second. But when you type in next in line for Dolphins head coach, I'm sure all these names are going to pop up for a lot of these different teams. So you'll see guys like Joe Brady, Robert Saleh, Jesse Minter, Jeff Hafley, and then Anthony Campanelli.
Okay.
For at least what AI is probably popping up right now on the Microsoft Bing side of things. So let's quickly spin around and see what team we're going to land on next. I got a plethora. There's 9 different teams here to talk about and to worry about. And here's another side. Well, another team, young and up and coming. And I said that this might be, if not one of the most, if not top 2 in my mind of who could be the teams to worry about. Tennessee Titans.
Really?
In terms of, in my mind, of kind of most creative freedom. A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. I also like the sense of it's the AFC South. It's not the toughest division to worry about. You get a brand new rookie, still a rookie to sophomore quarterback in Cam Ward, very much fluid. You can kind of build your own quarterback still out of him right now. So what are we thinking, leaning towards with the Tennessee Titans? Anything there?
You tell me, who do you think is going to take that? Who do you think they should hire for that job? If you could hire for the Tennessee Titans right now, who would you hire?
I mean, you would think probably they're going to lean defensive side minded.
You think?
I mean,
There's
don't
2
know.
names that come to mind for me.
Okay, you then spill.
One,
if you got him, you got him.
One is Matt Nagy. He's kind of been tied to that job for
That's right.
a few weeks now. I don't think that's the right hire, though. I think Brian Daboll is the right hire for Tennessee. I think he can help develop Cam Ward. I mean, you kind of seen this year with Chicago when you get the right coach in with a younger quarterback, what that coach can do, what that player can turn into, X, Y, and Z. And I think Daboll, if he can win playoff games with Daniel Jones, I think he could definitely figure out something with Cam Ward. I think the biggest deterrent with the Tennessee Titans is their ownership. They've gone through, 3 head coaches and 4 GMs in the last 4 or 5 years. So just the instability in ownership, I think. You talk about having creative freedom. I don't know if that's necessarily the right word I would use. I think it's more of hey, you're kind of, playing for your job every single year, which I guess they all are. But at some points, there are circumstances and context to be taken into before you fire your head coach. But yeah, I think those are the 2 names that make the most sense. I think Brian Daboll would be the correct hire.
I would second your Brian Daboll for all the kind of the reasons that you said before. And if you unlock Cam Ward in the same way that he was able to get a hold of Daniel Jones and get the best out of him and
Josh
sort of
Allen.
Way, that very
back
much
to his
true
Buffalo
too.
days.
Yeah, very much in that same sense. And just I feel for Daboll, he might be almost taking kind of a similar Giants-esque role again, where he's just I'm probably not gonna be doing a ton of winning. Maybe I might unlock this quarterback here and get some glimpses of a good team and whatnot. But if he goes in and unlocks him, I don't think he's going to be reaping the benefit afterward because this team still might be bad for a little bit.
Yeah,
so
I mean, they've got some pieces on defense they can play with. To your point, though, they do play in the AFC South, which actually has kind of looked better this year, especially if Daniel Jones doesn't get hurt. But no,
Liam Cohen now with the Jags.
Yeah, Liam Cohen. Without Travis Hunter too, he should be coming back. Yeah. Which they did announce earlier this week. They're going to have him play both sides of the ball going into next season, which is just interesting in itself. But yeah, I think it's actually one of the bottom least likable jobs.
Okay.
Yeah, just because of ownership. I think that plays such a big role.
That's not really something I consider. I think for me, sometimes I focus too much on the what I can do. Yeah, what I can do with the team, what I can do with the players that are in front of me. I think maybe too much maybe with my Madden football video game brain, and I'm not on the I'm more on the X's and O's side of things and not on the financial / the business side. So that's kind of my downfall when I look at teams and stuff like that. So let's spin around again. Let's go ahead and see what we land on, because again, maybe we'll randomize it up and this one's already landed on the Dolphins, but I'll flip to the team that's right next to it. Let's go with the New York Football Giants.
Okay.
They went ahead and broke the news. They were the first ones they saw. I guess of these teams that filled in this role, but it's still very much worth talking about. John Harbaugh fired from the Baltimore Ravens. That was the shock and awe season if you were outside of the Baltimore area. However, again, like I said, the New York Giants. I have the receipts. I mentioned it. I'm like, he's probably gonna go to New York. He's definitely gonna go to New York. I had the going joke of it's basically just the same team with like Lamar Jackson and Jackson Dart aren't all the too much different. The MVPs are a couple differences and some huge stat wise.
That's a take.
That's a take. Jackson Dart's got a similar mold. I'm not gonna say they're one of one. They're one for one, but they got a similar build. A solid defense. In the Giants that could be when healthy top tier. But what did you think overall of just John Harbaugh moving to the Giants? Good move, bad move, lateral move. What are we thinking?
I think it's a good move. I think the person that's probably the most scared about this is Joe Shane, the GM.
Okay.
Because usually a Harbaugh wants to come in, they want to have control. They want to have a say in personnel. They want to have a say in what's going on a day-to-day. And Joe Shane, ever since the whole Saquon Barkley situation, has kind of been in hot water to begin with. So now that you bring in a guy with a winning pedigree, 18 years of success, he's in like the top 10 coaches of all time in playoff victories as well. So just bring in that pedigree. He obviously knows what he's doing. It's really cool too because he's got that special teams background. He doesn't really have the background of offense or defense or whatever the case may be. But he's definitely a leader, which is what this organization needs. They need stability. Ever since Tom Coughlin has left, they've had just a cesspool of culture, and they needed that culture builder. So I think it'll be more interesting to see now that, especially that Todd Monken had gotten fired. It's gonna be interesting to see who
I didn't see that.
Harbaugh is gonna have Todd Monken. Yeah, the offensive coordinator for the Ravens. That was the whole reason why Harbaugh was getting fired, is because the Ravens wanted Todd Monken gone. And Harbaugh did not want to get rid of him. So it'd be interesting if Monken or even Greg Roman, because Greg Roman spent time with Baltimore as well, who their offensive coordinator will be. But if he picks one of those two guys, you can expect the Giants to run the football a lot next year.
Yeah, and I can't confidently say it should be a guy like Tyrone Tracy Jane. Yeah. However, I've seen the bold takes. If Cam Scatterbo gets back and is 100% healthy, don't be surprised if he leads the league in rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, right.
With a guy like Harbaugh at the helm, and just the crazy activities that we see in him. I think we got time for one more.
Yeah.
Maybe one more, then we get to hit a Mamma Mia or two.
Yeah, why not?
All right, let's hop to it. Spin around and round we go. Where we land, who knows? Other than this wheel, and we're gonna land on the Arizona Cardinals, a team that we kind of lightly mentioned earlier. I mentioned because, like I said, the Texans were able to tie their playoff win total in just a matter of a couple years now. But the Arizona Cardinals firing Jonathan Gannon. As I used to gather some sounds and stuff for my audio job, I can kindly say that he was not the best post-game interviewed. He wasn't the most just the most interesting. Long way of saying kind of just had I kind of just had word salad, kind of like how I'm having now right now. So
word salad, nice. I like that.
Anything on just who might be coming in? Anything on Jonathan Gannon coming out for the Arizona Cardinals with a couple minutes left?
Well, Jonathan Gannon had a background in defense, and all they've had is dysfunction at quarterback since he's gotten there. They don't know what they're going to do with Kyler Murray.
I think he's gone.
I think this is probably.
I think he's the New York Jets quarterback next year.
That would be interesting. I could see that maybe, or Cleveland. It'd be kind of cool in Cleveland, maybe. I don't know.
I'm a Shador believer.
Nah, okay, Shadussi. This is down toward the bottom of the list of desirable jobs as well.
Oh yeah.
The only name that I could really think of would be Mike LaFleur, who is the offensive coordinator currently for the Rams, and he's also the brother of Matt LaFleur. So I could see the Cardinals hiring somebody in division, has an idea of, because basically they are the doormat of the NFC West. Every other team in the NFC West is very successful and very well ran, except for the Cardinals.
Okay.
So I think maybe kind of taking a page out of somebody else's book would be a good fit for them. They need an offensive mind. They have McBride. They have Michael Wilson. They have Marvin Harrison Jr. So they need somebody with an offensive mind that can unlock these pieces, which we kind of saw a little bit last year with Jacoby Brissett when he came in. I assume he's going to be your bridge quarterback going into this year. And then you have a plethora of quarterbacks to choose in next year's NFL draft between, Arch Manning, Dante Moore, and others. I mean, there's probably 7 or 8 quarterbacks coming out next year that could be, franchise-altering players.
The AI in front of me says Clint Kubiak.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see.
I
how
could
that
see
goes.
that. I also thought Clint Kubiak would be a good fit for the Falcons job.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. The big one we'll trail off here. I think this might be where that ends. But I don't know if you saw the Ravens owner when he was in the middle of his press conference interview, and then the news about Mike Tomlin broke then and there.
He said that'd be
funny. I thought that was kind of cool. If he's like, yeah. Wonder what will happen. Maybe we hire Tomlin,
Yeah,
and then
maybe.
they hire Harbaugh.
That would be really
How
funny.
crazy of a shakeup that would be. That would be pretty interesting to see overall.
I think Jesse Minter will be the next coach for the Ravens.
I think that's the.
I
big
think that's
name.
a good fit.
It's the big name for sure. We got about 30 seconds here before we got to head on out of here, but before the music hits. But got a quick Mamma Mia before we head on out.
Well, give me one. What do you got?
I had one. I mean, I don't want to harbor too hard, but if you saw over the week, there was the Golden Globes, I think, gave out this award for Podcast of the Year. Congratulations to Amy Poehler. Not to Joe Rogan or Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast or Tim Dillon or I don't know, all these podcasts that everyone claimed influenced the election. But no. Shout out to Amy Poehler for a whopping 50 whole episodes to become the best podcaster of all time. Congratulations. I think that was
that's a good one. I don't know if I could follow that up.
Yeah, not Dave Portnoy and all his Barstool podcasts.
Yeah, Pardon My
have.
Take and
no. Amy Poehler, congratulations.
Wow. That is, that's
that's
hard
something for sure.
That's a good one. I like that. I like that a lot. I did not watch the Golden Globes.
Neither did I. I don't know anybody that does.
Right. I think the Pop-Tarts Bowl had a bigger rating than the Golden Globes, so maybe that's my Mamma Mia of the week is we still love the Pop-Tarts.
Bears Packers have 30 million viewers.
Yeah.
And hopefully they have another 30 million more tomorrow night, Sunday. Catch Bears. We got them.
Love you guys.
Now available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com is the